why am I so good at making decisions in my personal life, but I'm resistant or hesitant in my business life? I want to build that confidence where you feel like you can make good decisions on both sides and you never think twice about it.
Welcome to Get Real, Get Results. I'm your host, Chantell Preston. I've got over 2 decades of experience in healthcare operations, project management, and consulting, and I've navigated the dance of career advancement and personal satisfaction firsthand. Get Real, Get Results is your go-to resource for navigating the complexities of a modern-day success without sacrificing your well-being. So buckle up and get ready to challenge the status quo, shatter limiting beliefs, and embark on a transformative journey toward a more authentic, balanced, and fulfilling life. This is Get Real, Get Results, and I'm honored to have you join me.
Hi, everyone. This is Chantell Preston with Get Real, Get Results. Thanks for joining us again today. We're just going to kind of dive right on in. One of the things we're going to talk about today is decision-making. You know, I hear a lot of grumbling out there about women can't make decisions in business. You know, we're resistant to risk, all those different components. So I want to talk about it today and how can we become more effective in our decision-making, as well as negotiating. You know, I laugh because I was like, oh, women aren't good negotiators. We negotiate constantly. We negotiate at home. We negotiate with our kids. We negotiate with our spouses. How are we not good negotiators in business? And so some of the things that we're going to talk about today is some tactical ways and takeaways of how can we become more effective in our decision-making and our negotiation skills. So as we jump in, I just kind of want to share a few stories of my own experience in my life and pivotal moments that I had to make some really hard decisions. And how did I make those decisions? You know, I get a lot of people asking me, tell me about your journey. Tell me about how you got where you were today. You know, was this the path that you always chose? No, I didn't start my life thinking I was going to be in healthcare. I wanted to be a business owner. I wanted to be a founder, an entrepreneur. I didn't think any of those things. So everything in life is a process or a stepping stone to the next place. I tell my kids today, you know, stop focusing on the outcome and enjoy the process, because the process will direct you in the right directions. So in regards to decision making, you know, that was one of the things that I really had a hard time with early in my career, is being really aggressive with my decisions as to knowing exactly what to do. I was always fearful of making bad decisions. You know, well, what happens if this happens or if that happens? And I would just analyze things to death. And same with my negotiations. You know, I would try to negotiate in a way where I was really, you know, what's in my best interest versus looking at it on the overall perspective of what are they trying to achieve? What am I trying to achieve? How can we come up with something that's, you know, mutually beneficial to everybody? And so I've given a lot of speeches in regards to how to negotiate better. And how do we look at things? You know, with our kids, it's just a constant negotiation. I don't know how many of you guys have a 13-year-old daughter like I do. We negotiate constantly. Sometimes I have to remove myself from the negotiation because I've decided that she's actually a better negotiator than I am most of the time. But great skill for her to have later in life. But right now it drives me crazy. So in regards to negotiation, I had to make some really hard decisions in this last year. And I really had to sit down and figure out, how can I do this without the emotion? Because certain things just triggered me. Sorry, that's just who I am, you know, especially if it's a decision I have to make or a negotiation that really, in my opinion, impacts me personally to a certain degree. Maybe it's someone did something that I didn't agree with, that now I'm having to deal with the problem that they've caused. I'm negotiating a contract. I'm very, you know, emotional about it because it's a big deal to me. So kind of come up with some strategies for myself in regards to how do I negotiate better? And so I've really got 5 really key components of what I try to do when I'm negotiating things. First of all, I want to take a step back and say, what problem am I solving? What do I really want out of this? You know, what are my I have to have versus I'd like to have? You know, sometimes we're kind of engrossed, so we have to have everything. You know, we don't win unless we win all the points. Not necessarily true. As I've gotten older, I realize that's not really the case. But what do I have to have? What problem am I trying to solve for myself? Secondarily, what do I need from this situation? You know, we look at everything differently. You know, there was a situation that came about in this last year where I was trying to make a really big decision about one of my businesses. Is how did I want to take it to the next step? How did I want to negotiate with my partner in regards to what was in the best interest of the company as a whole? Of course, it was very emotional for me because here it was my partner. I thought we were going to be together forever. Unfortunately, we weren't seeing things eye to eye. So I had to go into this negotiation really trying to figure out what did I need, but what was also in the best interest of the company. I was very emotional about it because it meant a lot to me. And the individual I was talking to and had to have this negotiation with, I really cared about. I didn't want to hurt them, but I knew that what I had to do was go in and be effective as a negotiator to determine what was in the best interest of the company. So in order to do that, I had to go through these steps. What problem was I trying to solve? Okay, we had a culture issue. I needed to fix the culture within that business because, again, the way we did things were totally different. Secondarily, what problem was I solving, but also what did I need out of that situation? I needed a more cohesive team. I needed someone to be there that could really help grow our employees. And then the third thing was, how did it make me feel? I have to tell you, I was so distraught by this situation because I never felt like I should have been in this situation. I was upset with myself for allowing me to get in this situation. I mean, here I am, this, supposedly this great business person. How did I get myself in this situation? Well, it became emotional. I forgot that this was a business. This wasn't a friend and I going into business together. This was a business. So I had so many emotions going through me. And then I had to sit down and have this conversation with somebody that I personally really cared for, but yet I knew it was not in the best interest of the company. And I knew, me personally, I think you guys are getting a little bit of taste of how I am. Look, I'm real direct, but at the same time, I'm pretty compassionate. How was I going to handle this situation in a way where I felt good about it at the end of the day and they felt good about it? Again, I'm not sure how they felt when it was over, but I know I felt like I had done everything I could. So I let those emotions run through me before I walked into that room. I said, okay, how can I sit down and really think through this and feel those emotions? So when I walk in that room to have those hard conversations and negotiate, I didn't feel those emotions anymore. The emotions were out of my head. I dealt with them. I felt them. And now I could go in and make a really good decision on behalf of the organization and myself without worrying about how emotionally am I going to feel when I walk out the door. And I know that sounds really weird. Think about the emotions. But again, if you're an emotional person like I am, it's important to get those emotions out. And I think, I hear a lot of people say, oh, women are emotional. They can't make good decisions. They can't negotiate because we're so emotional. I'm going to take that emotion out. Now, I felt it beforehand, but when I walked in that room, I took that emotion out. And then lastly, how have I handled these things in the past? I think sometimes we forget that, again, like we talked about, we negotiate all day, every day. How have I been able to be effective in the past and get through and get what I need out of something without tearing down the other person or without hurting somebody or without hurting myself? So really, how have I handled it in the past? And so I have to tell you, this one situation that I had to go through last year, it made all the difference in the world. And just that preparation of really thinking about things before I walked in. Before the last 5 years, I'd walk into negotiations, hey, no problem. I've got this, no worries. And I would never even think about all of the prep work that needed to go in beforehand. So I've really grown in my decision-making and my negotiations as to how can I do this more effective and feel like I'm empowered when I walk out of the room. So those are some of the things that I've been able to do in regards to the negotiation side of things. So I encourage you to do the same. And that's just like decision-making and multitasking. I think we all as a mother, as an employee, as a boss, as all the things that I do on a daily basis, I got to multitask 5,000 things. Now, I'll tell you, when I was younger, pre-menopause, I'll say, I could balance 15 things at one time. I could have a conversation, write an email. I could keep it all straight. Something about when I had my daughter, it just went out the door. And everybody said, oh, you're going to change when you have children? No, I'm going to be the exact same. No, I totally changed. I could not handle the multitasking like I did before. So I guess you could say at this point, I'm embracing my age. I'm embracing getting older. I can't do some of the things that I used to do. It was fascinating because I still thought, oh, I can multitask. No problem. I can still do 15 things at once. I can juggle them. I did a great exercise. I was getting my teaching executive coaching certificate through Rice University, and we did this great exercise. And I thought, I'm going to nail this. I got this. I'm going to multitask. I'm going to show them how great I am. Wow. It was an eye-opener. I totally failed. And it was amazing to me about how it really showed me that, we all think we can multitask on a daily basis, but how ineffective we are. If we don't focus on one thing and get through it and then move on to the next, it's fascinating how it's like, and I've said this a lot, especially recently, and I feel like I'm doing everything half-assed and nothing well. Now I know why, because I'm juggling from one to the next without getting through my thoughts. So another area of opportunity that I've been working on the decision-making side is how can I really focus on certain tasks and then move to another task? So again, it's all about what do you want and how am I going to be able to be most effective? So the multitasking, look, we're moms, we're spouses, we're business leaders, we're going to have to multitask to a certain degree. But I highly encourage you that if you think you're being effective, try just focusing on a few tasks or one task at a time until you get that task done. A great thing that I have been trying to do, and one of my takeaways is my power hour. I think we all have experienced, we get to work, everybody starts pulling on us. I get sidetracked. I never get anything done throughout the day. We've talked about our checklist, never get anything done on our checklist. So one of the things I really try to do is usually on Fridays is have a power hour. Even if I do it every morning when I get to work, the first thing I do is I sit down and I say, this 1 hour, I'm not going to answer emails. I'm not going to take phone calls. Don't come in my office. And I'm just going to simply sit here for 1 hour and focus on the top 3 things that I need to get done. We talked about prioritizing. How do we prioritize those major things that we need to get done? Whether that's going through my emails to just respond to them because I'm the world's worst of, hey, I'm going to get back to you. And then I totally get sidetracked and I totally forget. So again, that 1 hour of power hour a day or once a week is just invaluable in regards to getting through all those things that I need to do without having any distractions. So one of the takeaways is that for you guys today. The other is, being confident in our decision making. I think that, the old quote from, I think it was Albert Einstein, if I had 60 minutes to think about a problem, I would take 55 minutes and think about the problem and 5 minutes on the solution. And that's so true. We spend so much time trying to evaluate what's the solution versus really looking at the problem that we're trying to solve. Is that really the problem we're trying to solve? Or is there a bigger problem? Or is there something within that problem that really is more of a pivotal decision than the one we're looking at? So I think it's really important for us to go through and really look at that problem and evaluate, is that really what I need to be focused on? Or is there something more? And again, if we don't take the time to slow down and really think about those things, I think we just make a lot of quick decisions without realizing the repercussions or the bigger picture. So again, I highly encourage you to just take a look at the problems we're trying to solve and say, is this really the problem? And if it is, great, move on, let's make some decisions. But if not, really spend more time on looking at the problem versus the solution. And then on negotiation, again, prep is important. I sit down and I think about, what do I need to have? What's the problem I'm trying to solve? What are my emotions? And you might be surprised because you think, I'm not emotional about this. But if you really sit down and think about it and take the emotion out, when I go into those negotiations, I'm in a much better frame of mind in every aspect. And that's because I've felt the emotions, I've dealt with the emotions, and now I'm going to move on and make good decisions. And you'd be shocked. When I went into this meeting with this individual, my partner, I have to tell you, I was shaking. I didn't want to have this conversation because, again, it was so emotional to me. I felt, betrayed to a certain degree. I was angry with myself. But the fact that I'd already felt those emotions, when I got in there, I was just stone cold. And the reason why is because I'd already felt them all. And I have to tell you, it was the best outcome I could have asked for because I had literally sat down and prepared for that conversation in a way that I knew when I walked out of there, I was going to achieve what I needed to. I wasn't going to falter and I wasn't going to give in, but I was going to do what's in the best interest of the company. And I have to tell you, this has been 8 months now and the company is flourishing. And it's amazing how, again, just simply taking that time to live and feel those things enabled me to make such a better decision in the moment when I was in that situation. So again, just some takeaways. Try a power hour. Try it once a week. Try it every day. But just lock yourself in somewhere and just give yourself 1 hour to focus on some tasks that you think you really need to get through and without any distractions. And I guarantee it'll take you less time than if you're doing it when you're multitasking, and you'll be able to achieve more things. And then you can go enjoy an hour for yourself. Remember, we talked about that, self-care. So give yourself some time back in your life of just literally sitting there and focusing. And I know it's hard. Start with 10 minutes, start with 15 minutes. Start somewhere, because I think it'll make a huge difference in the overall day when you're able to just focus on a few tasks for just a short period of time so you can knock those off your list and feeling like you've made some progress during the day. Thinking about the difference between personal and business decisions. Again, we make personal decisions every day. So think about that. Why am I so good at making decisions in my personal life, but I'm resistant or hesitant in my business life? You know, I want to build that confidence where you feel like you can make good decisions on both sides and you never think twice about it. So again, let's build that confidence like we've talked about. And that's really thinking about what is the problem, spend time on that, spend time preparing yourself, and then being able to make good decisions on behalf of yourself and the organization. So, all right, guys, thanks for joining us today. I hope this helps you guys. Have a great week, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Get Real, Get Results. Now get off your ass, get out there, and enjoy the life that you want to live. We're here if you need guidance, and until next time, do your best, enjoy the small victories, and stay unstoppable. And don't forget to visit chantellpreston.com for coaching or keynote booking information. And remember, you have to get real to get results.